Hello everybody, my name is Kim Danke and I am your fast track instructor, and I am so happy that you are here with me tonight. Tonight what we are going to do is we're going to go over the lifestyle overview, because in my mind when you're starting something new you need to kind of know the umbrella overview and what is it that you have to do in a day to achieve what you're trying to reach. Plus, we're going to go over those certain terms and terminology that we use in Shibboleth. That way, when you're reading the website or you're reading somebody's post on Facebook or you're listening to a video by Jason or a video by Travis or a video by me, you won't be confused by the terms that we use. So I'll just boil it down to the very, very basics that you need to know in the beginning, and then you can advance as you continue to live this lifestyle. So I'm going to share my screen with you. We're going to go over just a PowerPoint, and I'm going to use that. Okay. So I hope everybody can see this PowerPoint. I'm going to make sure that it's visible on Facebook. It should be, and then I'll know it's okay. Way to go. Way to go, I did it. No, I'm just kidding. The Shibboleth Lifestyle, a program overview by your fast track instructor, Kim Danke. Well, first of all, I'm very thankful that I found Shibboleth last year. In about 5 months, I lost 50 pounds, and I have been maintaining that since last September. And honestly, maintaining a weight loss is really the important part. I know many of you would agree that we can figure out how to lose weight. And yeah, that can be challenging too. I'm not going to say it's not, but making sure that you maintain that for the whole rest of your life is important. It's very, very important. But that is something that's very doable in this lifestyle, okay? And you're going to continue to learn that. So I'm going to forward through these slides individually. So this is the basics. The basics are, there are 2 modes on Shibboleth. So you are either in weight loss mode or you're in maintenance mode. There are only 3 differences between the 2 modes, because once you've learned the foundational lifestyle of this is basically what you're going to continue to live for the rest of your life, okay? So you're always going to be doing the foundations of Shibboleth, but the 3 differences are this: the number of holidays that you can take in a month, and I'll go over what a holiday is in just a second. How you eat fruit, isn't that funny that that one is different, but okay, how you eat fruit, and your mindset. So in weight loss, you get a certain number of holidays. In maintenance, you get a certain number of holidays. In weight loss, you have to treat fruit a certain way. In maintenance, you can do something different with it. And your mindset has to be very focused on why you are going to continue to do this lifestyle when you're in weight loss. But by the time you get to maintenance, you need to have your mindset set that this is a forever lifestyle. So those are the 3 differences between the 2 modes. So on Shibboleth, there are 2 types of days. You either have a perfect day or a holiday. A perfect day is where you are meeting every component of what we call the Shibboleth shield. And then a holiday is where you're not meeting some component of the shield. And we're going to go over all the components of the shield. So if you're getting the shield right for the whole day, you can say you've had a perfect day. But if you're missing out on some part of that, you just say you're having a holiday, okay? And if you'll see my little picture down here, it says enjoy the holidays. We want you to enjoy the holidays. It's just that a holiday doesn't need to be every day of the month, okay? So how many holidays are allowed? So when you are in weight loss mode, you can use up to 6 holidays in a calendar month. Once you get into maintenance mode, you can use up to 12 holidays in a calendar month. Now they're there, you don't have to use them, they're just there if you want them. I personally strategize my holidays. So for example, every month on the first day of the month, I look at my calendar for the month and I ask myself, am I going out of town? Because I personally want to use holidays if I'm going out of town. And so I want to make sure I have those marked off. Well, if you're in weight loss mode and you're going out of town for 7 days for a 7-day vacation and you get 6 holidays, you're going to need to make sure that all your other days leading up to that vacation were perfect, and then keep one on vacation perfect. Okay, it's not hard. You still are eating real food and everything, but that's the kind of thing that you want to know about so that you can make the plan and live up to the goals that you've set for yourself. In maintenance, I do the same thing. I say, am I going out of town? And my next question is this: is there a birthday, an anniversary, or any other actual holiday in the month that I want to celebrate? And I mark that off. And then I look and see if there's any work functions that I might want to have a holiday meal at. But most of the time at a work function, I can eat something approved there. So you want to plan out your holidays. Now, that does not mean you have to take that holiday when you get there, but it does mean that you've had a plan for it, which is very, very important, okay? So the next thing is, how do I have a perfect day? So in order to have a perfect day, we follow the Shibboleth shield. Now, I'm going to talk to you about the pronunciation real quick of that word. Shibboleth is actually a Hebrew word from the book of Judges in the Bible. And at that point in time, it was a password, and a password should be a secret. So Travis says, we found the secrets to weight loss. We have cracked the code on adult and childhood obesity, and everything that you need can be found at your local grocery store, okay? So Shibboleth is the way that the Hebrews pronounced it. But Travis says that he's a good old boy from Harley, Georgia, and so he calls it Shibboleth. So all he's doing is country accenting the O. Isn't that funny? So Shibboleth, that's just what we say, Shibboleth. But Shibboleth shield rolls off my tongue easier, so that's what I say right there. There is a video in the new member fast track group on Facebook called the Origins of Shibboleth, and I would like for you to watch that because it really does tell you how Travis and Sasha came up with that name. So I want you to watch that. It's very important. So after you've had 2 perfect days where you're meeting every component of the Shibboleth shield, your body gets into a state called EFB. EFB stands for efficient fat burning. So many of us have tried to burn fat before or lose weight before, but you didn't quite know how, and so it wasn't happening very efficiently. See, this program is like there's several overarching things in this program that create the success that we have here, that gets our body into EFB. We're going to go over those, but EFB is going to be 3 of your favorite letters. So on your first perfect day, you are going to get a green check that you've marked in your journal. You've had a perfect day. It's going to show up on your timing chart in your website as a green check. Your second perfect day is going to be another green check. Your third perfect day is going to show up as a flame because you are efficiently burning fat. And that's where we want to be. We want to be efficiently burning fat. Who wants to do something and not do it efficiently? I know I don't. I like efficiency. So we might as well burn fat efficiently. So how you have a perfect day is you follow the Shibboleth shield. There are 5 components to the shield: water, journaling, combinations, portions, and timing. And we're going to go over each one of those in a separate slide, but I'm going to mention to you right here. See this one, this combinations one? Combinations is controlling insulin, and this is the #1 way to weight reduction. People often think that the #1 way to weight reduction is this one, portion control. It is very important. Portion control is very important, but it's not the #1 way to weight reduction. We have to really combine those to have efficient fat burning, but controlling insulin is the #1 way to weight reduction. And that, by the way, that helps with lots of other health issues as well. Okay, so component #1 of the Shibboleth shield is to drink your water. You want to get in at least a half a gallon to 1 gallon of water every single day. That is 64 ounces of water up to 128 ounces of water. Get that in every single day. A dehydrated body will not efficiently give up fat or waste, and we need both of those things to be moving out of our body on a regular basis. So 4 of these regular sized water bottles is your minimum, and 8 of those would be your goal. Okay, but at least get those that in. And when I talk to people in class in person, I'm like, do I want you to get in 63 ounces? No, I want you to get in 64 ounces because I want you to keep the integrity of the program strong. Okay, so y'all can, if you haven't been getting your water in, you can start that tomorrow. There's no reason you can't start that tomorrow. I do have a lot of people tell me, oh, getting my water in is going to be no problem at all. I drink water all day long. And then I ask them to measure it, and they are shocked that they think they're drinking water all day long. But when they measure it, they're not actually coming anywhere close to the amount of water that they need in a day. So make sure that you measure it. In the mornings when I get up, I walk over and I put out all the waters on the counter that I want to drink for the day so I can have a visual of what I need to finish off because it's important. So that's the way I do that about water. Lots of people measure their water in different ways. You'll have to figure out what's best for you. Component number 2 of the Shibboleth Shield is to journal. You want to journal your food. You want to write down absolutely everything that you eat. There are no idle bites on planet Shibboleth, okay? Every bite makes a difference. So, let's think about this. It's not our birthday celebrations and our vacations that have gotten us to where we need to kind of turn around and go the other way. It is every single day doing a little bit of popping this in your mouth and popping that in your mouth and grazing and all of those. So we're gonna change those behaviors, and by journaling helps to change that behavior. So you want to journal daily. If you bite it, you write it. If you nibble it, you scribble it. If you drink it, you ink it. If you hog it, you log it. Now, obviously, every time you drink water, you don't have to write, I drank water. You're just going to log how much you drink. Now, I go ahead in the mornings and mark down exactly how much I know I'm going to drink that day. And if by chance I don't hit that amount, let's say I mark in and I'm going to drink 80 ounces, but I only get to 64 or something like that. I can go back and change it, but I just go ahead and mark in the mornings how much I am going to get in there. That's an incentive to go ahead and get that done so I don't have to go into my journal and change something. But one of the things that if you do this in the morning when you get up, if you've already planned out your day of what you're going to eat, just go ahead and pop it into your journal and it's there already. So really, if you write it before you bite it, it actually makes much more sense to do it that way. And I also want you to know about journaling too. Journaling really creates your future meal plans. If you are journaling your meal plans and then you, like a month later, get to a spot where maybe you didn't lose any weight in a week, because that could happen, okay? Doesn't mean you aren't doing the right thing. It's just that your body is adjusting. So if that happens, you can go back and look at your previous journal as to what you ate on a week where you lost a good amount of weight, and you could repeat that week. But if you've not been putting your food in your journal, then it won't be there for you to use in that way. And you can print out all of your journal pages as well too. So make this usable for yourself in the future. So you do have to journal your food in order to call it a perfect day. So component number 3 of the Shibboleth Shield is combinations. This is ding, 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 extremely important, secret alert. This is it right here. You want to eat properly combined meals. Properly combined meals keep away what we call the fat bus. The fat bus is insulin. Insulin is a hormone, and it's a growth hormone that is focused on fat storage. So I don't know how many people knew that, but I personally did not know that. And so now that I've learned that, it doesn't bother me one bit to not bring the fat bus. I'm like, I don't need that bus running around in my body. Now this component right here is pretty big, okay? And tomorrow night's webinar, which is at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, is all on this component. So tomorrow night is all about this component. I am going to hit some parts of this tonight. It's going to build tomorrow night. So you got to come back tomorrow night for this, okay? Component number 4 of the Shibboleth Shield is portion control. You know, everybody knows that if you're going to lose some weight, you've got to cut back on what you've been eating, okay? So, but it's not the number one way. The number one way is controlling insulin. Adding portion control to it just supercharges everything that you do. We're going to eat properly portioned meals from a 6 to 8 inch plate using the 2-hand rule. The 2-hand rule is this: you put your hands together as close as possible. See, like my thumbs aren't in the way. I'm not doing this, nothing like that. I move my thumbs like this. I put my hands together. See how they're as close as possible? I bring that down over my food. And as long as I cannot see my food sticking out around my hands, then I've portion controlled. Don't you love that? I do not have to measure anything, weigh anything, count any calories. I just put a properly combined meal on my plate, and I use the 2-hand rule. You also don't want your food to be taller than the thickest part of your hand. And we say that because you know how we can pile up a Thanksgiving or Christmas plate and it's about this tall. We could do this and go, I can't see my plate. No, no, no. You want to make sure it's low on your plate, okay? And the reason we say a 6 to 8 inch plate is if at home, it's much easier just to get a little small plate and eat off of that. But the 2-hand rule trumps everything. So if you're at a restaurant and they bring you a giant plate, you're going to put your 2 hands up there and place it down over it. If you need to half everything on that restaurant plate and put it in a doggy bag to eat tomorrow, then go ahead and do that right away so that you're not tempted to eat more of your portion at that meal. So we do need a portion control. I want to talk about right now how many calories are in a pound of fat. And y'all listen, because I am going to ask this question again tomorrow night. There are 3,500 calories in 1 pound of fat. So in order for us to lose 1 pound of fat, we have got to be in a calorie deficit of 3,500 calories. Well, the only way to get into a calorie deficit of that amount is to portion control it. So that's why portion control is important. So in weight loss, in my mind, I see our journey as achieving 2 different goals. One is to not store any new fat, and combining foods in a way that control insulin is going to help that. And we've got to efficiently access and burn any stored energy, which is fat. We've got to access that. So it's 2 things. So all of this together works beautifully, I promise you. If you put all this together, you are going to see great success. I just had a friend this week. She started she went to the class last Sunday night. Basically, she started Monday. Saturday morning, she had lost 10 pounds. She messaged me today that she was down 3 more pounds. That is in 1 week. Now, some of that is water weight, and that's okay because that was water weight you were carrying around, and it was taking up space on your body. You do normalize your hydration levels during that first week, but guess what? What a motivation to keep right on going, because after you've got all that normalized, you are then losing lots and lots of stored energy, which is fat. Okay, so I'm going to stop right here, and I'm going to tell you there are 5 components to the Shibboleth Shield. We've been over 4 of them: water, journaling, combinations, portions. Those 4 must be met for you to say you're having a perfect day. But I did say that there are 5 components to the Shibboleth Shield, right? There's 5. Timing is ultra, ultra important, but it doesn't have to be hit just right to say that you've had a perfect day. Okay, so the first 4 do, but let's look at timing. Timing is one of those things that helps you optimize all that you are going to do. It helps you optimize this. So you can do up to 3 meals a day. Now, I know that you have heard in the past, oh, eat 5, 6 small meals a day and you'll lose weight or whatever. It's a myth. It is a myth. We do not need to eat like that. You know, the Lord gave cows 4 stomachs, and cows graze. We have one stomach. We're humans. We don't need to graze, okay? So that is one thing that we're going to be working on in the behavior modification part of Shibboleth, and that's where the journaling can help you, okay? So up to 3 meals a day, breakfast for the Father, lunch for the Son, and dinner for the Holy Spirit. 3 beautiful times to sit down with the Lord and say, thank you for this food that you've given me. Thank you that I know how to now eat it. Thank you that I am not overeating this food. I appreciate that very much, Lord. So up to 3 meals a day. Your goal is to eat them 4 to 6 hours apart because you've got to give your body time to start the digestion process. And we really need to give our body a break from digesting certain things during the day. It doesn't need to be working on that all the time. So 4 to 6 hours apart. So if you are a breakfast eater, eat within an hour or 2 of waking. And then eat lunch 4 to 6 hours later, and then eat dinner 4 to 6 hours later. And that really should be it. That really should be it. But in moments of mental weakness, and we say mental weakness because we really could make it from breakfast to lunch, we really could make it from lunch to dinner, and we really could make it from dinner to bedtime. But in moments of mental weakness, we want to make sure that you have something that you can go to and still keep a perfect day. So you could utilize freebies. Freebies are actually unlimited. You could have as many freebies as you needed. But here's the thing about freebies. If you're eating freebies all day long, that again looks like grazing, okay? Now these freebies aren't going to hurt you. I just want you to still use them just as needed, okay? Not like, oh, let me just eat freebies all day because I like to graze. Okay, we still want to work on changing the behavior. And then you can have up to 1 extra in a day and 1 snack in a day. So you really could do all of that in a day and still call it a perfect day. Now, if you do all of those in a day, every single day in weight loss mode, you may not see the results as quickly as you wanted to. So I just want you to think about this. Let's say that you and a friend are going to the beach, but you get on the interstate and you drive the interstate to the beach. That's like having 3 meals a day and nothing else. But your friend, she decides that she wants to see all the small towns on the way, and she drives the scenic route. That's like adding freebies and extra and a snack every single day. Are you both eventually going to get to the beach? Yes. Yes, you will. One's just going to get there faster than the other. So my point with telling you that is that maybe you use these on the day that you need to use it on, but not every single day. So in my mind, in weight loss, let's just get this baby done. Let's just get it done, get weight loss over, and then let's do maintenance, all right? That's where I want us to be. So you can use freebies, an extra, or a snack. Now, let's look at this. Let's say that you eat so many freebies that they eventually add up to, I'm just going to use a small amount, 30 calories. Because honestly, freebies have really not much impact at all. So I'm just going to say that you've eaten so many that it added up to just 30 calories. Some extras are on average about 70 calories. And then none of our snacks that are approved are over 200 calories. If you add all of those three things up, so 30 and 70 is 100, and then 100 and 200 is 300. How many, I'm going to ask y'all a question, see if y'all are listening. I would love a response. How many calories are in a pound of fat? How many calories are in a pound of fat? And this, okay, awesome. Awesome. Bonnie and Christina and Anita, awesome. Good. Okay, 3,500. And Jane, yes, excellent. So there's 3,500 calories in a pound of fat. Thank you, Courtney. Awesome. If you randomly, just because you can, every single day, add 300 extra calories to that, then you're slowing yourself down and losing a pound of fat by 11.67 days. I don't know about you, but I don't want to wait 11.67 days to lose a pound of fat, okay? So what I'm saying is these are approved, and use them if you need to, but it doesn't optimize what you do. The other reason that we talk about timing is because, and we say that it doesn't have to be met in a day, is we can't really tell you, wake up and eat at 8, and then eat at noon, and then eat at 6, and then you're done for the day, because everybody's lives are so different. Based on if you've got small children at home and you're up at the crack of dawn, or you work first shift, second shift, third shift, or no matter what you've got going on, you've got to optimize this part for yourself, the timing. But the rules are no more than 3 meals a day. Try to do them 4 to 6 hours apart. And then in moments of mental weakness, you can utilize those other things. You can utilize those other things. So those are the 5 components of the Shibboleth Shield. Now we are going to revisit component number 3, because component number 3, combinations, that's a biggie. And when I say a biggie, I mean important biggie. I don't mean that it's confusing to learn, because if you desire to learn it and apply it, then you will. If you don't really desire to learn it, like you're sitting around going, yeah, I want to lose weight, but it doesn't just happen. We're going to teach you the concepts, but you have to personally apply the concepts. And if you'll follow along with the Shibboleth new member fast track this week, it will help you learn how to do this program. So there are 7 categories of food that you're going to start to familiarize yourself with. So food breaks down differently inside of our body. So that's important for us to know, because once we know how food breaks down in the body, then we are able to determine how to use it, So before I start this part right here, I'm going to ask you a question or give you an analogy. Let's say you go to the doctor, and the doctor says, I know that you aren't feeling great, and this, and this. I'm going to give you this pill. And this pill is going to make you feel better, but when you take this pill, you must take this pill with this and this. Otherwise, it's not going to work. You would take that properly, right? You would take that according to the doctor's directions. And then let's say the doctor said, I'm going to give you this pill, but when you take this pill, don't do X, Y, and Z with it. You would follow those directions. That's all this is. It just has to do with food. We are allowing our food to be our medicine, which is great. So what we're going to do right now is we're going to learn the 7 categories of food. And when you start looking at your welcome kit and all those things that came out in your email, and these 10 blue links that are above the videos and the website that I want you to watch, I want you to know what you're looking at, okay? So let's look right here. Category 1, whenever you see a 1, or you see the abbreviations LP, this is a lean protein. So category 1 is a lean protein. Now I'm going to skip to the bottom real quick. Do you see this right here, this category 7? The abbreviation for that is SHF. This is shellfish. And see right here in parentheses, this is really just lean protein. So category 1 and category 7 are a lean protein. So they can be used interchangeable. Shellfish used to be in the lean protein category. The reason that it got pulled off was because for biblical reasons and medical reasons, some people don't want to eat shellfish. So you don't even have to worry about category 7 if you don't do that, if you don't like that food. So just leave that off. Now, all fish is going to be in lean protein, category 1. You know what I say about the shellfish? I say that it's all those things that swim funny in the ocean, because shellfish doesn't have to have a shell. It could be octopus, and it could be mussels, and I guess mussels have a shell. I don't know. I don't eat shellfish, so I don't really worry about it. But it's all those things that don't swim like fish. Anything that swims odd, it doesn't matter if it has a shell or not, and it came from the ocean, or even like crawdads and all that, that's shellfish. Category 1 and 7 are the same thing. I am going to ask you that tomorrow night on our webinar, so keep that in mind. It's important. Anytime you see a category 2 or the letters FC, this is a fibrous carb. Your fibrous carbs, let me give you an example of lean protein. All your fish, chicken breast, low-fat cottage cheese, Greek plain yogurt, low-fat, all that kind of stuff. That's category 1. Egg whites but not whole eggs. Whole eggs are down here in the category 4. Fibrous carbs are broccoli, green beans, cauliflower, asparagus, Brussels sprouts, all those type of things. But we also have over 60 approved bread or bread type items in there. When I say bread type items, I mean like pita breads, tortillas, crackery type things, and all kinds of things. So we have a lot of bread items in the fibrous carb. How a bread qualifies to be a fibrous carb is that it has enough fiber in it to break down in your body more like a green bean than actual bread. So that's why a lot of breads are in the fibrous carb category. And we'll go over more of those tomorrow. EC, or category 3, is an energy carb. Energy carb. This is corn, all your potatoes, all your peas, most light colored beans, things like that are a category 3 energy carb. Category 4, or a PF, is a protein plus fat. So this is where all your cuts of steak are. This is where your whole eggs are, and all your any cheese that's approved, but not necessarily full fat, but some approved cheeses, things like that. Category 5, or FR, is fruit. It's also known as an antioxidant carb. So if you see AC anywhere, that's also fruit, okay? And it's all fruit is in category 5 fruit. Category 6 is also known as SF, superfood. Superfood. Superfood, this is something I'm going to ask you tomorrow night too. A food qualifies to be in the superfood category if it has all 4 macronutrients in there. On planet Shibboleth, we consider water a macronutrient. So it's got water in it. It also has protein in it, carbs in it, and fat in it. So if something has all 4 macronutrients in there, it's considered a superfood on planet Shibboleth, okay? So that's all you're going to need to familiarize yourself with. There's 7 categories of food. They all have a little abbreviation. The reason they have an abbreviation is because when you're making charts and things, you don't always have room for long, drawn-out explanations. But they make sense. It just goes right in there. Real quick, I want to look at something. You see your fibrous carbs, and you got your energy carbs, and you've got your superfoods. Do you know how you go to a restaurant and you think, I'm going to do a great thing. I'm going to order a vegetable plate. And the vegetable plate that I used to order was lima beans, fried okra, and macaroni and cheese. Well, that was bringing the fat bus all day long. But, oh, I was patting myself on the back for ordering a vegetable plate. I don't know how many of you do that as well. But there's a lot of things in this fibrous carb, energy carb, and superfood category that we can consider vegetables, or just as an overarching umbrella name would be vegetables. But not all of those items respond the same way in our body. So each item has made it into its own category based on its response in your body. So this is one of the tasks that I want you to do this week. I want you to just sit down and start writing a list of everything that you eat on a regular basis. Then you're just going to go into the food library in your account and start looking up that item. Once you've looked that item up, right next to it what category it's in. And then you'll look at your chart. There's a combination chart, and you'll know if I want to eat this, then I eat it with these things. And you start making yourself a meal plan, and then you just continue building your meals that you're going to eat. So let's look at something real quick. Energy carbs. I start with number 3 because in my mind, energy carbs have got to be treated special, okay? Energy carbs do bring an insulin release. And because they bring an insulin release, they must be treated a certain way for us to have a properly combined meal and not store more fat. All right. So an energy carb, I am just going to use lima beans for an example. About 1/4 cup, and I just say that for people who like to have measuring purposes, but about 1/4 cup, see, we're going to use our 2 hands. I put my lima beans about right there. But I know in my head, if I want to eat an energy carb, something that's going to bring a little bit more of an insulin release, then I must eat it with a lean protein and a fibrous carb. So what that might look like, to keep it real simple, is a piece of chicken breast under this hand, my lima beans here, and then maybe my green beans here. I portion control it and I properly combine it. That's a great meal, a great meal. I do want you to understand scientifically what is happening when you eat that meal, because this is so important. If you know what's happening, it really makes a difference in your choosing of foods. So let's say you eat those lima beans. When you eat those lima beans, a little bit of an insulin release is going to happen. It's just the nature of what's going to happen. But one, did you overeat the lima beans? No. So it didn't require dose after dose after dose of insulin to come out and regulate your blood sugar. That just a little bit came out. Well, it came out to deal with that, but you knew to eat it with a lean protein and a fibrous carb. Well, when you did that, you put it all together, the protein in the lean protein and the fiber in the fibrous carb help to neutralize the insulin release from the lima beans. It's all science. It is truly scientific. So if you want to eat some corn, you're going to do about 1/4 cup of corn. Maybe you do a 96% lean ground beef meat patty with some maybe some Borden's fat-free cheese on it if you like that, and then you put some broccoli with it. You can have all 3 things on their plate. You're still going to portion control, okay? But you can have all 3 of those flavors on your plate. That corn is going to bring a little bit of an insulin release, but the lean protein and the fibrous carb help to neutralize that, which is great. I hope that makes sense, because that's awesome. And then let's look at fruit. Remember how I said that fruit had to be treated a little bit differently in weight loss? See, these energy carbs have got to be treated differently forever. But fruit must be treated like that in weight loss. So just like we talked about that energy carb, if you want an energy carb, you must combine it with a lean protein and a fibrous carb. If you want some fruit, you must combine it with a lean protein and a fibrous carb. So let's say that you want to have some berries in the morning. And by the way, berries really are the best fruit. They're the lowest on the glycemic index. But let's say that you want to eat some berries for breakfast. You could do about 1/2 cup of berries. So you do some berries, but maybe you make yourself an egg white spinach omelet. Egg white spinach omelet with your berries is a great meal. Or maybe you do some Oikos 000 yogurt or some non-fat Greek yogurt. And maybe you put some hemp flakes, which we'll learn a little bit about hemp flakes tomorrow in there with that. But you know what you could do for a fibrous carb? You could do an approved piece of toast, okay? And still eat all of that together. That would be a perfectly combined meal. But now let me tell you about weight loss. I mean maintenance. Once you get to maintenance, fruit can be eaten by itself as a snack and it won't hurt you. But in weight loss, you've got to treat it differently. See, all nutrition is situational. So if your situation is you want to lose weight, then you treat fruit like we've taught you. But once you get to your situation is maintenance and you are maintaining weight, having a piece of fruit as a snack by itself isn't going to hurt you. Okay, so you can do that once you get to maintenance. Okay, now what we're going to talk about is we're going to talk about these protein plus fats, because this is kind of fun to learn about this. Protein plus fat. So let's just use a steak because that kind of makes sense. And let's say that we order that classic plate, or we fix at home that classic plate, steak and a baked potato. Well, most of the time, the baked potato that somebody eats isn't one of those little small baked potatoes. It's a baked potato the size of your head. I mean, it's huge. Okay, so you're eating this giant baked potato, and because of the sheer amount of that, and it requires a lot of insulin release, you're just going to have dose after dose come out to deal with that potato, because insulin's job is to come out and regulate your blood sugar, and dose after dose is going to come out. Well, you ate the steak. Steak is a protein plus fat. Is it a good protein? Yeah, it is. Is this fat bad for you? No, it's not. Just because it says fat does not mean it's a bad word. Okay, it's not a bad word. But you ate the fat. So what happens is that fat, if you just ate, let's just say you ate that steak by itself, which you can do, by the way. Let's say that you ate that steak by itself. That fat, your body does need fats for certain functions. So it's going to take it and use it like it needs to. And then it's just going to get used up as energy and it'll just go away. But when you pair it with the potato brings that insulin release. Now I'm going to describe for you how the fat bus works. The fat bus is insulin. A bus, think about a bus. Its job is to pick up people and take those people to their destination. The fat bus's job is to pick up fat and take it to its destination, butt and gut, and we don't want it there, okay? So we want to make sure that when we are eating something that's got fat in it, like a protein plus fat, steak or whole eggs, we do not want to pair that with a food that's going to bring an insulin release, because when the bus comes out, the fat bus comes out, it's just going to go and grab all the fat because there's going to be fat lipids running around in your body. It'd be no big deal if you weren't pairing it with a category 3 energy carb, but there's some others you don't want to eat it with, so hang on. If you want to order that steak at a restaurant or make that steak at home, your better choice would be broccoli, a vegetable medley, a side salad, something like that, because you ate the steak, right? Good protein. The fat's not really the problem. You didn't eat it with anything that's going to go around and collect that fat because you paired it with broccoli or something like that. So let's look at this list. I'm going to tell you real quick, and this is a question for tomorrow night, which 5 you can eat by themselves. You can eat lean protein by itself. You can eat fibrous carbs by themselves. You can eat the protein plus fat by itself. You can eat superfood by itself, and you can eat shellfish by itself. So 5 of the 7 categories you can eat by themselves. They don't even have to be properly combined. You can just eat them by themselves. It's the energy carbs, which is category 3, and the fruit, category 5, that you do not want to eat by themselves. Now, you heard my explanation a minute ago about when you can eat fruit by itself. So you don't eat them by themselves. And remember, if you want to eat an energy carb, it must be eaten with a 1 and a 2. And if you want to eat fruit, it must be eaten with a 1 and a 2. Let's look again at this protein plus fat. There are 3 categories that you do not want to eat the protein plus fat with. So the protein plus fat, you don't want to eat it with your energy carbs, which we just gave a description of the steak and the baked potato. You also don't want to eat it with fruit. So let's talk about that morning breakfast. Maybe you are used to making whole eggs and some bacon, and then you've got some fruit there. Well, what happens is that fruit brings an insulin release. Although I want to explain, fruit's good for you. We're not saying fruit's not good for you. We're just saying in the situation of weight loss, we have to treat it properly. Fruit brings an insulin release due to its natural sugars. But if you've paired it with bacon and eggs, there's fat in there. The insulin has come out. The fat bus has come out. It's going to go and collect that fat that's in those things, and it's going to store it. And we don't want to do that. We don't want to store more fat. And then superfood. Superfood can bring a little bit more of an insulin release, so we don't bring that with the protein plus fat. So protein plus fat can be eaten all by itself. It can also be eaten with a fibrous carb. You could also have surf and turf. Let's say you wanted to have steak and shrimp or steak and lobster. You could do that because that's just adding more protein to a protein plus fat. You could also do chicken and steak. Now, if that's the case, you shouldn't have more protein than your one hand. So that looks like chicken would fit there and a little piece of steak would fit there, okay? So you still got to portion control it. And I hope that makes sense. Now, listen, this is tonight. We're just building this overview. We're building a framework of knowledge. You're going to continue to learn and fill in all the little spots for your framework, okay? Now, I'm going to recap some important rules. First of all, category 1, which is your lean protein, category 2 is your fibrous carb. You can cook that up in MCT oil, which we're going to talk about on another slide, or a category 7, which is shellfish, plus a category 2 fibrous carb cooked up in MCT oil. Those are your fastest fat burning combinations. Fastest fat burning combinations. If you want to eat a category 3 or a category 5, which is your energy carbs or your fruit, you must eat it with a 1, which is also a 7, and a 2. It's got to be eaten with both of them. And then simply don't eat your category 4, protein plus fat. Just don't eat those with energy carbs, fruit, or superfood. That's that. Now look at bullet point number 4 there. All meat at a restaurant must be considered a category 4. So let's say that you're going to go to a restaurant and you say, you know what? I really like their rice pilaf at that restaurant. So I know that this rice is, well, first of all, not all rice is approved, okay? But we're just going to use that for an example. Let's say you want some rice pilaf, and then you go, well, so I'm going to order a piece of chicken because it's a lean protein, and I'm going to order some broccoli with it, and that would mean I could have that rice pilaf, which for sure would be a 3, even if it's approved. At a restaurant, you don't know what oil they cooked the chicken in. So if you, all meat at a restaurant must be considered a protein plus fat because they took the chicken and they cooked it in an oil that's probably not our friendly MCT oil, okay? And they turned that piece of chicken into a protein plus fat. So at a restaurant, you would not want that rice pilaf with that chicken. You would want to do broccoli only, okay? So that all meat at a restaurant must be considered a category 4 because that helps you stay safe, including shrimp and stuff like that. So let's look at the next slide. We just mentioned MCT oil. We have some approved cooking oils. We suggest that you use 100% MCT oil. MCT stands for medium chain triglyceride. Medium chain triglyceride. What you may have been using in the past were LCTs, long chain triglyceride. That's canola oil, vegetable oil, olive oil. Those are not what we want to use. Well, I'm never going to use canola oil and vegetable oil again. But olive oil, the reason I want to mention that separately is a lot of people go, oh, I was so proud of myself for cooking in olive oil. Well, see, here's the thing. Olive oil has health properties, but it does change when it's cooked, and it's not good for weight loss. And remember, our situation currently is to lose weight. So if you wanted some olive oil, like you're in love with olive oil, you can have it up to 6 days a month on a holiday if you wanted to, but we aren't going to cook in it. We're not going to cook in it. We're going to use medium chain triglyceride. I personally like for you to buy the SHIBBOLETH Zero Drag brand from our store, and here's why. It's been optimized for cooking. And we're only cooking or using it for recipes and things like that. So we like for that to be optimized for cooking. You actually can buy whatever MCT oil that you want, but ours in our store has been maximized for cooking. And the one in the store has 100 calories per tablespoon, where other ones have 130 calories. Well, I don't need an extra random 30 calories. So that's another reason I like the store one, the Zero Drag brand from the SHIBBOLETH store, the best too. Now, a medium chain triglyceride has almost no propensity to be stored on the body as fat. A medium chain triglyceride burns up like that. In fact, it burns up so quickly that when you are cooking with it, I need for you to cook on low to medium heat. Otherwise, it will set off your smoke detector. Okay, we don't want your smoke detector going off, but just the fact that I need to tell you that tells you that it burns up quickly. So if you think about that, if you put 100 calories, you like 1 table, let's say you're cooking yourself 1 piece of chicken in a pan. 1 tablespoon would be your serving that you would use. If you're cooking 4 pieces of chicken for the family, you could use 4 tablespoons, okay? So let's say you put all that in a pan. Well, some of that's going to burn up in cooking. Some of that's not even going to be ingested, okay? But it's okay to ingest a little bit of this high quality, good for you oil because it is muscle preserving. MCT has a muscle preserving effect. When you are in a calorie deficit and you're losing weight, you want to preserve your muscles. You want to do that. It also has a metabolism building effect. That means it helps burn a little extra calories, okay? Now, you are hearing me say that it works for weight loss. What I do not want you to hear me say is that you should take it as a supplement. We do not take it as a supplement. We do not, quote, have to get in our MCT oil. If you don't cook anything and you don't need to use MCT oil, then you're not going to use it, okay? So you're not going to make bulletproof coffee with it, which means put it in your coffee. Coffee is pre-digested. We do not need to add fat to a pre-digested drink. That does not work. We don't need to add MCT oil to any shakes, and we don't need to take it as a supplement. You are truly going to use MCT oil for the purpose of cooking something in a pan, or marinating something you want to cook on the grill, or in a recipe, or if you want to make a salad dressing with it. You can do all of those things with it, but we're not taking it as a supplement or adding it to any pre-digested things. Now, let's talk about LCTs, your long-chain triglyceride. Long-chain triglycerides take a long time to burn up. They have a great propensity to be stored in the body as fat. That's the olive oil, canola oil, vegetable oil, things like that. They have a great propensity to be stored in the body as fat because they don't burn up quickly. And most of us, I mean, I'm talking to myself, we're not out there running a marathon. I'm not out at the gym pumping iron. I mean, so if I was doing all that, I might could burn it up, but I'm not. So I'm unable to burn those up. So medium chain triglyceride, that is the #1 cooking oil that we recommend. Coconut oil would also be approved. Coconut oil is 60% MCTs. Ghee butter, which is a clarified butter, it's also approved. Once butter has been clarified, there's more MCTs in it, so that's why it works. Hemp oil is approved, and obviously 0-calorie cooking spray is approved. I had a great question one night. Why would I want to use medium chain triglyceride, which has some calories in it, versus a 0-calorie cooking spray? Well, because the medium chain triglyceride has that muscle preserving effect and metabolism building effect, where 0-calorie cooking spray doesn't. Now, here's where I want you to keep this in mind. See, MCT oil, this is a medium chain triglyceride. It's a cooking oil. It's a fat, but it's a good fat. I would not add this to any protein plus fats. So if I'm making egg whites, I could use medium chain triglyceride. But if I'm making whole eggs, I would come down here and use my cooking spray because the whole eggs already have some good fat in it. I don't need to add that fat to it. Okay? I hope that makes sense. And if it doesn't, you will get it. I had this little card that I gave out in class yesterday that says, just like your eyes adjust to the darkness, you will adjust to this. And it's just practicing it over and over and over. Okay, so I mentioned 3 letters early on in this webinar, EFB. EFB is efficient fat burning. So we're striving for those perfect days where we're trying to meet the 5 components of the Shibboleth shield. Okay, we're striving for those perfect days. But planned or unplanned, a holiday is coming. That's okay. Enjoy the holiday, but what you do is you don't let holiday roll into holiday, roll into holiday. You get right back to your perfect days, right back to your perfect days. Because after a holiday, it takes 2 more perfect days to get back into EFB. See, what's happening during those 2 perfect days is your body's getting rid of insulin that is causing the fat bust, it's causing fat storage. It's also getting rid of any glycogen that was in there that your body's using as easily accessible energy. So it takes 2 perfect days to get back into EFB. So your 3rd perfect day will be your first perfect day first day back in EFB. Then string as many efficient fat burning days together as you can, and you'll see great weight loss. And then planned or unplanned, a holiday is coming. Then you have 2 perfect days to get back into EFB, and you string as many efficient fat burning days together as you can. And then plan. So you can see how it's a lifestyle. It is such a lovely and wonderful balanced lifestyle that I'm so thankful for. So when we are in EFB, our body is going to burn stored energy, which is fat, for the energy that it needs, rather than unapproved oils and starchy or sugary carbs. See, we want our body, so we're living our lives every day and we're burning energy. We need energy. So our body has to get that energy from somewhere. It's going to come from stored energy, which is fat. That's how we're going to burn it, by not giving it approved oils that it's always using up, that rarely get used up, and we're not giving it sugary and starchy carbs unless we've paired them properly, okay? And it just makes so much sense to do this. And then what is the fat bus? We're going to recap the fat bus. The fat bus is insulin. Insulin is a hormone, specifically a growth hormone focused on fat storage. After an insulin release, fat storage occurs for up to 48 hours. And that means that you are out of EFB. That's why it takes 2 days to get back into efficient fat burning, because fat storage can happen up to 48 hours. Insulin also increases appetite. So after you've had a holiday where you've brought an insulin release and you get back to your perfect days, if you're ever going, man, I'm hungry, I want you to pull this strategy out. I'm not hungry, it's insulin, I just need to let that dissipate and I won't be feeling like this anymore. So insulin increases appetite. After the fat bus has been on its rounds, it takes 2 perfect days to get back into EFB. All right, so the question is always, what am I going to eat this week? In the new member fast track group, I've got several meal plans in there. They're dated from December, but you can still use them. I mean, the date doesn't matter. And I also have in there what I ate for my first 20 days. It is not a magical meal plan. In fact, it has about 30 Mighty Muffins on there. A Mighty Muffin is a very yummy meal replacement. It's satisfying, it's tasty. I knew it was keeping me safe. I was enjoying eating them, and I was learning the program while I was eating Mighty Muffins, okay? So, but you can look at that and see what I ate for the first 20 days. I lost 12.5 pounds in that 20 days. But really what you've got to start doing is making your favorites a list of 10 to 15 lean proteins that you like and you're willing to eat. See, there's nothing on Planet Shibboleth that you must eat if you don't like it. We want you to eat foods you do like. We just want you to eat them in the right combinations. And part of what Shibboleth is just tweaking what you buy. Maybe you need to buy a new bread. Maybe you need to buy a new tortilla or something like that. But that's why you've got the food library. You look it up in the food library and see if it's approved or not. And then make a list of 10 to 15 fibrous carbs that you like. And to keep it really super simple in the beginning, put one thing from the lean protein list and one thing from the fibrous carb list, cook it up in some MCT oil, and you have your fastest fat burning meal. Then throw in a few meal replacements for simplicity, because I really don't know many people who are getting up and cooking themselves full out meals, breakfast, lunch, and dinner anymore. I really don't. But if you do, great for you. But if you don't, then throw in some meal replacements. Figure out which ones you like. Keep it super simple in the beginning. Get a good week under your belt, and then start looking at recipes and figure out what you like in the restaurant guide and all that, because there's lots of variety on Planet Shibboleth. And then last but not least, I want you to take advantage of our awesome resources. So there are some Facebook support groups that you need to be a part of in the Shibboleth New Member Fast Track group. I've got a post in there linking the video, linking the groups. So all you got to do is go in there and ask to be a member of those. If you currently aren't in the Shibboleth New Member Fast Track group, if you're not in that, then I need you to join. Just search on Facebook Shibboleth new member fast track. It'll pop right up and I'll let you in. I'm going into that right after this. Familiarize yourself with our awesome website. Here's the thing. In the beginning, you may be going, dang, this website is a lot. It is, and it's awesome. Do not get overwhelmed by it. Use the journal and use the food library, that kind of thing. Focus in and watch your fast track videos this week. I want you to watch those. There's 14 little fast track videos. It takes less than 1 hour to watch those, less than 1 hour. And you can take the test at the end and earn your first badge. Every single morning before 6 a.m., a post is going to come out in the new member fast track group. You may not be notified of it. You may not see a notification of that. Facebook acts funny sometimes. You might have to go to that group and see what it says to do, because I've set it up like a little electronic textbook. I've got a master's degree in education, and I used to be a school teacher and a principal. So I set it up just like a little assignment, because if you do the assignments, you'll be able to pass the test. And the real test is starting to apply this. You will be able to do that if you go in there and do those little posts each day. The video that is in that post is me showing you how to use the website. So watching those is helpful. And then make a getting started mentor appointment, but make that appointment for next week. When you hop off of this webinar, go ahead and do that. Go to mentor.genbook.com. It's listed right there, but set up your getting started appointment for next week, because I want you to do fast track this week. Write down any questions that you have, and then when you're having your mentor appointment, you can ask them any questions that you didn't get answered this week. If you have your mentor appointment during the day, it's probably going to be Joni SHIBBOLETH. And if you have it at night, it's going to be Missy SHIBBOLETH. They're the ones that do most of those mentor appointments. And then focus in on the fast track this week, okay? And welcome to the SHIBBOLETH family. We are here for you. And I just want you to know, I personally think this is absolutely the best thing I have ever found. It just keeps getting better and better as I continue to go along living this lifestyle. And I do truly see that this is something I can do for the rest of my life, because all the foods that I need come from the grocery store. And I've got all of you to do this with. We're all focused on trying to achieve the same thing. And we're going to do it together. We're going to do it together. Okay, any questions before I hop off of here? Otherwise, I'm going to go in and I'm going to post the link for registration tomorrow night. If you haven't already registered, I'm going to post that right now, and I want you to do that. But there's no reason that y'all can't get started tomorrow, because you can drink water tomorrow. You can start journaling food tomorrow. You can start combining tomorrow. Just look at your list. You can portion control tomorrow. And you can go ahead and stop grazing. You can try to do 3 meals a day and just utilize those other things. So you can get started on this tomorrow. And Vicki Adams, I still have your phone number right here. I've got to call you. I know. Okay, I'm going to hop off of here, but please, you're welcome. You're welcome, Ron. You're welcome. And if you are in Kennesaw or Dalton, we have a little store. And if you aren't near one of those, you can shop at our online store. But we'd love to see you in person if you are near one of those locations. And class for tomorrow night in Kennesaw filled up already. But if you want to sign up in Kennesaw for class on Saturday, next Saturday, please do that. If you live near Center, Alabama, I will be in Center, Alabama next Saturday with Rhonda McDonald and a lot of Center people. I will be there 1 o'clock at the Rock on Saturday. You're welcome, Anita. You're welcome. And just stay close to the community of Shibboleth so that we can all support each other. Okay, Vicki. Awesome. Awesome. All right, I'm hopping off, and I will see y'all later tomorrow night. Tomorrow night. Look for the post tomorrow morning. Register for tomorrow night, and I will see you tomorrow night. Awesome, Rhonda. Yes, that's why we always watch and listen, because the little pieces and parts that we need to pick up, you pick up something new every single time, and it eventually makes you be able to do this like the back of your hand. And you'll be living it like it's your lifestyle, which is what we want to do. All right, bye y'all.